Welcome back to the Blah Freakin Blah podcast. All right, wrapping up the day today. This coming via EW.com, that will be Entertainment Weekly. Dark Phoenix confirmed after X-Men Apocalypse. Fox sets release dates for New Mutants, Deadpool 2, and Dark Phoenix. I will be posting the links to these articles in the description box below, but keep in mind that all of these are sourced from my Facebook page. That will be facebook.com/GM Blah Freakin Blah. Blah Freakin Blah was taken, imagine that. GM Blah Freakin Blah at Facebook. Make sure you go over there and like that page because I am constantly looking for stories that are of interest to me and therefore could be of interest to you. And if you want to get them in your feed, please make sure to subscribe, to like me there and subscribe here. According to Entertainment Weekly, the Dark Phoenix will rise again after reports circulated over the plot for the X-Men Apocalypse sequel. 20th Century Fox confirmed that the franchise will be revisiting Jean Grey's iconic storyline next year. Revisiting because X-Men The Last Stand visited that one first. It goes on to say, on Saturday, the studio announced new release dates for the next installments of the X-Men Cinematic Universe. Josh Boone's New Mutants is scheduled for April 13th, 2018. That is really, really soon. For productions this big, that's quick. Deadpool 2 will now bow June 1st, 2018. And Dark Phoenix will hit theaters on November 2nd, 2018. So next year, for you X-Men fans, you cinematic X-Men fans, next year is going to be a big year for you. I'm excited. 3 films in 1 year is that's pretty ambitious. It's kind of bold. Hopefully we don't get any X-Men fatigue, but I think that Marvel has proven that all the speculation around, quote unquote comic book movie fatigue is all in their heads. They're the ones tired of it, not us. We like seeing these films. We go see these films. They're fun films. Get your head out of your asses, boys. Just have fun with the movies. So the article goes on, interviewing Bryan Singer, who lays out regret for not actually doing X-Men 3 and finishing out that trilogy. If you don't know, he was going to do it, and Brett Ratner was going to do Superman, the Superman Returns film. Apparently, Bryan Singer really wanted to do Superman, and ironically enough, Brett Ratner really wanted to do X-Men, so they pretty much traded with one another. But Bryan Singer quotes, he says, I like finishing things. I like finishing this particular iteration. He said this to Fandango in 2016. I know X-Men 3 was quite rushed and I didn't complete it, and I felt a little like it was probably my responsibility to do that as a filmmaker, and I didn't. But with X-Men Days of Futures Past came a new edited timeline that Singer teased would fix stuff in the cinematic universe. Now, that's debatable, but I'm not going to go into all that right now. I have an issue with badly written timeline stories, which I enjoy those films, but the time travel was really bad. He goes on to say that the new X-Men film is in the early stages of prep, and he's interested, quote unquote, in directing, meaning negotiations are still going on. He goes on to say, Simon Kinberg, the producer, says, I definitely would love to take another stab at the Dark Phoenix story. And I'm going to stop right there because my opinion on this is I think The Last Stand takes too much hate. And I know I'm inviting trouble with this comment, but this is my opinion. It's my channel. The Last Stand is overly hated. It was not a perfect film by any stretch of the imagination, but there was a lot of good in it and lots of ballsy moves made by the filmmakers, I thought, and it was I thought it was very well put together. Now, again, messy, probably not the right direction to go storytelling wise, but I thought the ending was quite emotional. I thought it was could it have been done better? Sure. Oh yeah, it could have been done better, but there's very little out there that you can't say that of. So I think The Last Stand is one of those films where it got trendy to hate it. And people say they hate it just because everybody says they hate it. I encourage you to watch it again. You might still hate it. You might listen to me and go watch it and say, nope, it's still crap. But I remember enjoying it in the theater, and I watched it maybe a couple of years ago again, and it hasn't really lost any of its charm to me. The parts that were really cool. They go on to say in the article, the seeds of Phoenix definitely are planted in Apocalypse. she can't control her powers unless she either fully stops them or lets them all loose, and that's kind of Phoenix. I think in future movies to come, we'll definitely see a bit more of that. As for New Mutants, Boone, who helmed The Fault in the Stars, promised a young adult vibe with familiar faces. So hopefully they do well with that. I'm curious to see where they're going to take the New Mutants after Logan, because that is one hell of a movie to have to follow. And in case you didn't know, Deadpool 2 coming out June 1st. Deadpool 2 coming out next year, June 1st. They finally cast Cable. And it is none other than Thanos actor Josh Brolin, which I thought was a really good choice. It will be directed by David Leitch. Still don't know how to pronounce that man's name. He is one of the co-directors of the original John Wick, and he is doing Atomic Blonde with Charlize Theron that comes out later this year. So, and it also says Zazie Beetz. And I'm not kidding. That's Ziebeetz. If I had a graphics person, I'd have that play across the screen, but I don't have a graphics person yet. So, Zadie Beetz. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but I'm just pronouncing it like it's spelled. Does anybody want to comment, see if that's a fake name or not? Will also appear as Domino, while a teaser for Deadpool 2 was released in theaters with Logan. It was a short. It wasn't a teaser. I hate that everybody keeps calling it a teaser. Anyway, pet peeve of mine. So there's the news, guys and gals. We have rolled on through it. I had other things that I want to touch on, but we are out of time. So post your comments down below. What do you think about 3 X-Men films in 1 year? We might see some of those pushed back, like New Mutants. Maybe not. They might just roll these things on out. Are you ready to see somebody aside from Bryan Singer direct X-Men films? I kind of am. I like Bryan Singer, but I'm ready for a new vision in that one as well, because I've really appreciated the efforts of the other directors to do those films. So anyway, sound off in the comments, man. I want to get in the conversation with you. I appreciate y'all listening, and in case you're listening on a podcast, iTunes or wherever, make sure to go to blahfreakingblah.com and subscribe, and like me on Facebook. That's facebook.com/GM Blah Freakin' Blah. Thanks for listening, guys, and I will catch you next time.